No, I think it's way premature to be talking about a collapse. I don't think he had a good debate. I do wonder if Kamala Harris may have climbed out onto a limb on the issue of mandated school busing, for example, that may not go over well with the general electorate. I think Biden may have the better political stance on that particular issue, but Mo used the word sledgehammer. I don't think that she used that type of tool to hammer him, but his reaction was as if he had been hit by something really hard, really unexpectedly, and that's on him, right? I think she found an opening. She decided that she was going to come after him pretty hard, and it's then up to the candidate to assert their front-runner status and respond well.
It has been kind of interesting to listen to the criticism of her, because did she come after him too hard? I mean, well, for me, I think that, like, I saw one of her spokespeople said something along the lines of, Mo, she was ready, she was bold, and she delivered. I mean, is this a kind of breakout thing that you would look to try to have in a primary? If there's 9 debates to go before the first votes in Iowa, but she got a little momentum out of this, and I think deservedly so.
No, I think so, too, and the post-debate polls reflect that the only movement we have seen coming out of this debate was downward movement for Biden and upward movement for Harris. You know, this has been a race that has been remarkably static since the day Biden got into the race. This was maybe the first potentially game-changing moment. Now, look, I think we all need to remember, though, in the first presidential debate back in 2012, Barack Obama got his clock cleaned by Mitt Romney. Everyone said Romney crushed him in that first debate. He came back strong in the second and third debates and won the election. Conventional wisdom was that Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump in every debate last time. So how much of a game changer it is remains a question, but I do think for the first time Biden looks vulnerable.
Yes,
Dana, just a very quick point here, because I've seen some of this commentary like, oh, it was bad form of Harris to come after Biden that hard. I think that's total nonsense. The Democrats had a preordained frontrunner last time that they coronated early on, and that ended up very badly for the party in 2016. If he's going to be the frontrunner, he has to prove that he can sustain that on his own, and he has to be able to be nimble and responsive to tough attacks. And we'll see if he shapes up for the next debate better, but he did not seem terribly well prepared last time.
The results are in from last week's Democratic debates, and Senator Kamala Harris, she's the clear winner, surging into third place. She's gone up 6 percentage points from the week before when she was at, now she was at 6, now she's at 12% among all the 2020 candidates in a new poll. This follows her showdown with frontrunner Joe Biden. But here's another surprise. Don't count Joe out yet. He's still very much in the lead with 33%, losing only 5 points following the debates. And Senator Lindsey Graham is warning Democrats not to underestimate Biden.
He's got to up his game, but anybody that knows Joe Biden, there's not a racist bone in his body. That's not a cliche. That's the reality. But the narrative is that maybe it's not his time and that he's not up to the task. I think you will underestimate Joe Biden at your own peril. And I think the next debate, he's got to change the narrative. And one thing I'll say about Kamala Harris, and I said this before, she's got game. She is very talented, she's very smart, and she'll be a force to be reckoned with.
And in other 2020 news, Mayor Pete Buttigieg raised a staggering $24.8 million in the second quarter of the year. And this is a good one. Some of my Republican friends urging folks to donate to Marianne Williamson's presidential campaign just to keep her in the future Democratic debates and maybe harness enough love to defeat her opponents. Dana, what do you make of these polls?
Well, I would say on the Marianne Williamson thing, we are a very wealthy country if we can consider donating money like, for fun, just to mess with the Democrats. The economy is in good shape, if that's the case. I think that I hear what Lindsey Graham is saying, but I do wonder if we are going in the early stages of what is going to be a very long, drawn-out, painful, slow realization for the former vice president that the party is not going to get behind him with enough sort of fervor that he could take on Donald Trump and win. I do think that he didn't just have a rough debate. It's that he seems to have a tough time adjusting to the new campaign style. Like, politics has changed it changed from, if you think about how Obama was like the social media president at that time, it was like they had figured out this new technology and were able to drive forward. The Republicans caught up, and then you had President Trump. He's actually utilizing it, and now the Republicans are catching up on small donors, and it's faster and it's moving quickly, and he is running a campaign from 2 cycles ago, and I wonder if he'll be able to keep going. I do think that because the Democrats have figured out a way to be very inclusive with 20 candidates or whoever, by the time you get to September, there are only 5 people who already qualify for that debate, so I think it's going to get narrowed down pretty quickly.
So, Jesse, you were showing me during the breaks another poll, because the first poll that I was talking to Dana about is the Morning Consult poll, but you have a CNN poll. In the CNN poll, Biden is at 22%, down 10 points, and then Harris is up 9 points to 17. So that's a 5% gap. In the Morning Consult poll, where Biden's at 33, Harris is tied with Warren at 12. That's like a 20-plus difference. It's a big difference, I think, in the way we look at this if you see somebody like Biden still in the lead by 20-plus points versus just 5.
True, but it's a dramatic surge from Kamala Harris because aggression pays off in debates.
Yeah.
It definitely will, and as you'll see her poll numbers go up, her fundraising numbers will go up, and you're going to see whether Biden's going to have to punch down at the next debate and respond. If he does punch down and initiate an attack against her, does it make him look weak? Does it make him look insecure or nervous? And it could backfire, too, because she could just counter and just knock him out. Because if he tries to hit her hard and she comes back with something quick, that could be over for good old Joe.
One quick question.
Yes.
But is Biden stronger than the critics said in the immediate aftermath?
I don't think we know how strong he is until the first votes are cast. But in terms of the Marianne Williams mischief that people are playing,
Yes.
you remember Limbaugh had Operation Chaos in the primaries with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. By that point, we knew Barack Obama was going to get the nomination. But Hillary was still struggling, and she was still fighting, and she was trying to play this out to the convention. So Republicans changed their voter registration to Democrat and voted for Hillary just to drag it out and bloody up Obama to make him weaker against the general election candidate. Republicans could do the same thing here if they wanted to. They could switch parties, they could register as Democrats, and they could vote for our friend Marianne.
But see, who else? I think everyone should fear her, because who else can harness love to try to defeat President Trump? Clearly a huge threat. Although I say that and watch she ends up
big harness.
But I think Dana is onto it in the sense, I don't necessarily think the line of attack from Kamala Harris is what is so devastating or damaging, but it's the fact that it cuts into this perceived electability of Vice President Biden. That's why he's been up. It's name ID and perceived electability. And I think she cut into that. And the fact that he was caught so flat-footed when all these attacks had been in the public domain for quite some time, the fact that he literally gave up while trying to defend himself and just threw his hands up, he doesn't look like a strong candidate. He doesn't look electable. And quite frankly, he looked old and tired.
Greg?
Well, I think Biden's descent will be swift and complete unless someone gets into that cockpit and pulls the plane up. Because I don't see him having the power or the energy to actually compete unless somebody comes into his campaign and says, slaps him around, wake up, Joe, this is important. This is the last thing you're going to get. He's only got one direction, and that's down because he's up top, right?
Yep.
And she can only go up. And he just doesn't look like he has the energy. However, I will say this, Kamala, even if she gets the nomination, which I think she will, I think she will. And I think it's going to be a 2-woman ticket. So I'm not sure if it's either going to be Liz Kamala or Kamala Liz.
What about Marianne?
Marianne's just going to be the Secretary of Love. but Kamala will not be safe because Biden hit Trump as anti-minority, right? And Kamala hit Biden as anti-minority. Now Trump can hit Kamala as anti-minority, the circle of love politics style, by saying you put a lot of low-level drug arrests away for a long period of time. That's anti-minority. That's anti-prison reform. She'll get the bitter taste of medicine from him.
Oh, my gosh, this is too much.
He needs a Red Bull.